There's an ethic you'll find all across America.
Oh, you can, that's okay.
A belief that good ideas are worth pursuing, that hard work and treating people right are their own rewards. It's an understanding that everything starts out small, and through diligence and perseverance can be built into something that lasts, something worth reflecting on and taking even further. You find it in big cities and small towns, places where hard work and discipline are a way of life. Places like Bergen, New York, the home of Liberty Pumps. In 1965, a company based in Buffalo decided to sell off its small line of sump pumps, along with the tooling used to make them. Fred Cook saw an opportunity, so he gathered all of his available finances and launched Liberty Pumps.
He was familiar with Bergen, he was comfortable with it. It's very agricultural here. He appreciated the rural roots that are here. The work ethic of the people is just unbelievable. So this is where we started and where we plan to continue.
From the very beginning, Liberty Pumps has been innovative, finding new ways to help their customers.
The initial product line of Liberty Pumps was strictly sump pumps, and this was before I joined the company. My uncle modified some of those sump pumps to be able to handle sewage in the late 60s and grew the sewage pump business by assembling those into basins so that contractors would have pre-assembled systems.
As the business grew, Fred Cook added more space to accommodate new products and personnel. Then he retired in 1975, handing control of the company to his nephew, Charlie.
Working with Fred was very educational for me, and to his credit, he let us do everything. We would build pumps in the morning, we would go to trade shows, sell products, we would have to write the purchase orders for raw materials. We would have to pay attention to profit and loss. There's no better way to learn the roots of a business than to go through that process.
Charlie carried the legacy Fred had established and led Liberty Pumps through ongoing expansion of the product line. Once more, success meant physical growth and evolving to adapt. In 1979, Liberty made its first move away from the original building to a new location 4 times its size. Then, a near disaster occurred in February of 1984 when a fire broke out. A corner of the building was destroyed, and there was heavy smoke damage elsewhere. But with a great deal of effort by the employees and help from suppliers, the company was producing pumps again in a matter of days. The company grew through the 80s, and the Canadian market was added in 1989. Liberty was building its brand around the world, utilizing the strengths of everyone on the team under Charlie's leadership.
He keeps aware of everything that goes on, but he's also good enough to let his key leadership do their jobs.
I take the greatest pleasure in walking through the plant, seeing people perform their jobs, knowing that they're very focused on the quality of the product they're making, and they're very focused on the customer that's going to be getting those products.
Through the early to mid-1990s, the team developed and patented new products and features. Liberty celebrated hard work and achievement, earning their first Rochester Top 100 award a few years later.
Being in Bergen, we're a very small town, and with that comes a great sense of pride from the people who live and work here. That sense of pride goes directly into the products that they build.
Continued expansion of the product line and staff meant another move in 2000. Growth has been a part of the DNA at Liberty since the earliest days.
The company's had actually 3 locations, all located here in Bergen, all within about a mile of each other.
Our first location was maybe a half mile from here, second location a mile south of here, and this was our 3rd location.
With more patents awarded, products introduced, and even a few products retired, Liberty Pumps was continuing to grow, and yet again needed more space.
knowing what it started out as and how small we were originally, and to come in here and look around in here today and see what it is today. And it's just amazing for me to come back and see what's here today in comparison to where we were.
Liberty Pumps is a multi-year recipient of the Inc. 5000 Award, a prestigious recognition of the fastest-growing privately held companies in the U.S. That kind of success comes from knowing your customers and anticipating their needs.
You try to meet your customer demands and what they want in a product, but we go a little further and actually try to think of things maybe they haven't even thought about.
It's the legacy started by Fred Cook, and it continues at the dawn of a new era. And it now extends around the world with successful expansion of our business to more than 30 countries.
Liberty Pumps is a good choice for our customers because the product is innovative, it's high quality, and it's made right here in the U.S.
People here are so willing to go above and beyond for the people that they work with and for the customers, and to make sure that they ship the highest quality product possible.
The most important element is how you service the customer, and there's nobody in the industry that's better at it than we are.
Customer-focused innovation, commitment to quality, outstanding service. Liberty Pumps.
Okay, can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
All right. And you were able to hear that video then?
Yeah.
Okay, I couldn't hear it on my end, but I've seen it enough times that I could recite it probably myself. So is Scott there? We're ready to get started?
He's not going to make it, so just go ahead.
Oh, okay. All right, well, we'll just keep moving on. All right, well, thank you for joining. And this is a Zoom meeting to give you an training or give you the tools to find the information around Liberty Engineered Products, which is a separate division of Liberty Pumps. Basically, solids handling pumps up to 10 horsepower and grinder pumps from 2.5 to 15 horsepower. That will show you all the tools available on the website, as well as get into some of the features and benefits of the product through a slide presentation. So so what I do sometimes, and you guys, Northwest Pipe has been a customer for Liberty for many years. So what I like to do is start off with the corporate video for new customers to LEP is our acronym for Liberty Engineered Products, but also for engineers maybe, or even municipalities that we do presentations for that aren't maybe not quite as familiar with Liberty Pumps as a company, so they get a chance to see who we are, where we're located in our facility through the videos. So the next couple slides I'll get into are basically around the strategy of launching the product, which we launched this product line in October of 2018. At the WEFTEC show, which is a Water Environment Federation, a very pro-known wastewater industry type trade show that's global. So we did that and have been there last year as well in Chicago. The key really, I think, to the product and the presentation and finding the material is the LEP website, which is a separate website from the Liberty Pumps website. So I'll show you where that is or how to get to it. Very easy. The website address is very similar to libertypumps.com. We just add a /LEP for Liberty Engineered Products. But on that website, I'll show you where the videos are located. A nice program we call Build a Pump, which helps build a part number. So our part numbers ended up being about 23 characters long or so, depending on what options you were looking at. So we realized that that could be cumbersome, maybe confusing. So we put together this program to kind of take about a 5 or 6 step process to give you and spit out that part number. The nice thing that we were able to add to that was when you have registered, and I'll show you where to do that. And once you have logged in with a registration after it's been approved, when you go through this Build the Pump program, it not only gives you the part number, but it will give you the list price of that particular product and any matching accessories that you've picked to go along with it, whether it be a panel or floats or guide rail base. So that makes basically selecting and pricing up a pump and accessories very easy. Pump Flow is the selection sizing software program. Pump Flow is a program, the parent company being Engineered Software, that many pump manufacturers use. So if you already have an account with Pump Flow and a username and login, you can use the same username and login, and this will take you to the Liberty Pumps portion of that Pump Flow site that would help size and select certain models based on your flows and heads and criteria that you plug in. So I'll also show you where the literature is located. We have a program called Easy Parts, which is down the road if you were to do a repair or somebody was looking for some replacement parts. This is an exploded view of the pump with a bill of materials basically and a list of parts and quantity. And then lastly is the warranty registration startup form, and that's a form for a warranty registration. Basically, it's basically like a startup form. That's these type of products obviously, and they do require a startup. So and then LEP Link is a remote pump monitoring demo unit that we have. We partner with SJE Rhombus, and I believe they call it their Panel Link, but it's a cellular-based program that can be added to a existing control panel or as a separate enclosure that can give them text or email notifications based on different settings of parameters and alerts for high levels, low levels, power outages, pump failure, that kind of stuff. So we'll talk about that a little bit. So the video did a good job of kind of giving you the history of Liberty Pumps. Started in 1965 really as a manufacturer of sump pumps, and then evolved over the years into effluent pumps, sewage pumps, package systems. I'd say in the last 5 years we got into some explosion-proof pumps for 2 horsepower and below. You guys are familiar with all those products. Complete pre-assembled systems, pump controls and panels. We say custom engineered pump systems, that's for 2 horsepower and below, but we also do pre-assembled systems for the LEP or the Liberty engineered products. If you ever come to our facility or if you've ever been there, this is fairly new, still a few years old, the Pump Training Center, 80 seat capacity, 2 large screens and surround sound and all that nice audio visual type stuff for presentations and training of customers, contractors, engineers, what so be it. You saw some of this in the video as well, but it's 250,000 square foot facility manufacturing complex that is ISO 9001 certified and lean manufacturing. So all of the LEP, the Liberty engineered products, have their own assembly cell as well. One thing I try to point out in my presentations is that when you think of pump manufacturers out there that have, in the last 10, 15 years, really launched a complete portfolio of a product line, when it comes to submersible wastewater pumps, I'm not aware of anyone really doing that from the ground up, from that company's engineering team, marketing team, or whatever, everything put together from scratch, basically. So that's what this is. All of our engineers, marketing team, designed and engineered this product line from the ground up. And it was not an acquisition of another pump company where we, just took that and painted it a different color and had a different name, label put on it. So this is truly a design quality and maintained from our own company. Some of the features we'll point out here, so there's a couple differentiations I want you to keep in mind. One is dual seal products, meaning that they have seal leak detection with a seal sensing probe. These are available in both ordinary location and explosion proof. So what I'm going to point out here are some of the common first few items here that are common to these. To differentiate it though, there is a single seal group of pumps, 1.5 through 5 horsepower. So I'll talk about those here coming up, but so what I'm focusing in on right now are dual seal products. So all of the dual seal products are standard with a 35-foot cord, and then they also have a 50-foot and a 100-foot cord option. And they have standard as silicon carbide seals with a tungsten carbide option. And then their standard is a potted epoxy cord entrance, but also have the quick connect cord option, as you might be familiar with on the wholesale product. Similar design, just a stainless steel nut versus plastic, heavier duty for the heavier weights and things like that. So here we're kind of talking about some of the difference of features that we have in the dual seal product. I mentioned the quick connect cord option, terminal block for internal wiring, VFD capable design, meaning that it comes standard. These pumps come standard with the shaft grounding brush for VFD type applications, as well as Class H inverter duty insulation, which is a higher grade insulation than most manufacturers use. You'll see a lot of Class F insulation out there. We chose to just upgrade to the Class H insulation to make it inverter duty, also able to handle higher temperatures and just a superior insulation design. Premium efficient motors, durable powder coat finish. Here we have a shot of the quick connect cords for both the control cord and the sensor cord, power cord. And these are stainless steel nuts with a rubber grommet compression fitting here. That we've used this design for many years on the smaller pumps that we've sold. Difference mainly being the stainless steel nut, and then we do use a set screw here as well. We've had some people question, you know, vibration maybe or something like that that could loosen that nut up. So we overcome that by using the set screw that can tighten that or keep that nut locked down. Few other specifiable type features to this and a unique design. These are patent pending designs. One is mid-therm cooling. So this provides enhanced motor cooling by increasing the volume of oil and expanding it into the middle chamber. I have a couple slides coming up of showing some other designs of manufacturers, but basically what we're showing here is that this area down in the middle chamber is completely open, or 70% open cavity with about a 30% cavity where the seal rides in the seal sensor probe. So what we're showing here is that this is not an isolated chamber. This is, the oil is able to circulate from top to bottom. And so when that pump is running, the liquid it's pumping is generally cooler, and it's dissipating the heat from the oil and the motor to help that motor run cooler. And of course, temperature and motors are what usually deteriorate. Temperature is what deteriorate motor insulation over time. So that is available on all the dual seal pump designs. Robust bearing design, meaning that we are using 100,000 hour rated bearings, a B10 bearing life. Other manufacturers will sometimes use a 50,000 hour rated bearing, so we write that into our specification. And then the multiple seal materials are basically the tungsten carbide option. Another thing we found we added that's another patent pending feature is this clear notch design, clear notch technology. What these are is relief notches, we call them, but basically they're grooves that we cut into the top and the bottom shroud of the impeller, and also a groove or a ramp we cut into the volute. The reason we did this is we tested a lot of different pump manufacturers, you know, pumping wipes and rags and fibrous material. And after going through some of that material, we found we took the pump out, take it apart and look at it. Some of that material would get wedged between the impeller and the volute and either, you know, slow it down or cause it to jam and stop the pump. So we came up with this clear notch design that helps give it an area to clear itself out but also shears the material at the same time to cut it so it can make its way out and not get lodged between the impeller and the volute. So I have a few other pictures coming up. As far as, we call these wet ends, but basically they're different impeller styles for solids handling. The dual seal pumps are a 3-inch solids handling pump, 4-inch ANSI flange. They have a, they are available in ordinary and hazardous location, and they have the seal sensing or the dual seal materials or ability to seal leak detection probe. But one of the impellers is a vortex design, and then we also have what we call a mono vane or one vane design, or sometimes called a single channel style impeller. And then the enclosed 2-vane design is another 3-inch solids handling design. And then we also have the whole line of grinder pumps from 3 to 5 or 2.5 to 15 horsepower, which we'll talk about. Feel free to ask any questions either now or at the end, as any time is fine. Here is the mid-therm cooling. So this is showing this whole cavity here. So about 70% of that is opened up. And you can see that, so the oil is all the way from top all the way over the stator and rotor assembly. And then there's a smaller chamber of oil for the seal area and the seal leak detection probe, so for the lower seal. And I'll show you here a couple other manufacturers' designs, but you can see these are completely enclosed or isolated plates. So you've got an upper chamber of oil and a lower chamber of oil. So anything that's being pumped at a lower temperature might be dissipating the temperature in the oil at this chamber, but it's not really able to cool or lower the temperature in the upper chamber around the stator and rotor assembly. So that's what we're calling the mid-therm cooling type design that we use. And then another shot of another manufacturer here. Here's a little better picture and a close-up of the clear notch as it's passing the notch on the volute. So this is a groove cut into the impeller here, and then you've got this kind of ramp or groove cut into the volute area. So that's what we're calling clear notch. Another just quick shot of the mono vane and the 2-vane volute, showing the clear notch, the ramps here that are in the design. I've been asked a question about wear rings. Those two do have a wear ring, the mono vane and the 2-vane design. If you haven't seen our, what we call our all product brochure, I'll show you where to find it. There's PDFs available, but I can also send you, or you may have gotten a package already from us from our introduction letter, welcoming you as a Liberty Engineered Products distributor. Package of these brochures, but that's the printed brochure that we have. It's 12 pages, but that's where some of these snapshots came from. So this is basically kind of a quick summary of each impeller design, its horsepower range, its solids handling size, its flange size, what some of the other features are. And then down below here is what we have is a family of curves. So kind of give you an idea on how we did the numbering system is 3 is signifying 3-inch solids handling. If you have an X in the part number, that generally means it's hazardous location or what's been called explosion proof. The V would signify your vortex style impeller. And then the next 2 digits or the last 2 digits in this series is your horsepower. So 03 is 3 horsepower, 05 for 5, 7.5, and 10 horsepower. So for a vortex style, this is kind of a quick snapshot or summary of the flows and heads this pump can produce. Here's the mono vane series, similar bullets here, 3 through 10 horsepower, 3-inch solids handling, 4-inch ANSI flange, clear notch design, and mid-therm cooling. They all have the shaft grounding brush, so that's a VFD compatible design. So the mono vane pump is getting us out to over 700 gallons per minute and heads up to about 78 feet or so. So we're getting into some different, it's pretty nice flows and heads for a 3-inch solids handling pump. And then a 2-vane version as well, a closed 2-vane. So that's another style. Sometimes we get asked, well, why do you use one over the other? the enclosed two vein, we really put in the offering for, you know, the situations where maybe another manufacturer was specified and it was a two vein, and for whatever reason, maybe an engineer just, you know, is not going to get convinced to switch it to a mono vein. Yeah, he wants to definitely go with a two vein, and that's fine. We just have it in the offering for that type of reason. Ideally, the mono vein is a more efficient design, and actually we've found in our testing that the mono vein passes the occasional wipe and rag better because it's one less leading edge for that to grab onto and cause it to start wadding up. So we actually did a mono vein video that I can show you where it's located, and it actually shows it passing a diaper and passing the wipe and passing the shop rag and things like that. So our preference, and I think from minimizing the clogging type issues out there, mono vein would be a better way to go, style impeller. So grinder pump offering. So we are doing a 2.5 horsepower grinder in this line, which is looks identical and is probably 90% the same as our 2 horsepower grinder. Difference being a little bit bigger motor, a little bit more robust motor. We did machine out the cutter plate area a little bit bigger to get us a little bit more flow. So this flow rate on this LGV version, or V for volume, is 60 gallons per minute. And then on the high head version, it's 50 gallons, but heads up to, it's shut off over 180 feet. So that is, when we're talking grinder pumps now, we talk the high volume version and the high head version. The 2.5 horsepower high head is a 2-stage design similar to the 2 horsepower, but when we get into the 3 through 15 horsepower grinders, the high head version is a single stage or one impeller type design. So, and these are available in ordinary location and hazardous location. So then getting into the grinders specifically, we've had such good luck with the V-slice design of our grinder plate. We just made that plate bigger, the holes bigger, the cutter obviously bigger, and put it onto a bigger motors obviously and bigger impellers. So we have 2 versions of that. It's a high volume version, which is higher flow rates. So the 15 horsepower, we get out to about 250 gallons per minute. And then on the high head version, we get out to about 140 or so gallons per minute, but heads well over, you know, 220 feet ahead or so, depending on how far left of the curve you're going to get. But so 3 through 15 horsepower. These are available with a 2.5/3 inch ANSI horizontal discharge flange, or on the up to 7.5 horsepower, we can do it with a vertical discharge with a optional 2/3 inch adapter there for the vertical style. And these pumps from the horizontal flange version fit our GR3 series guide rail system, which we'll show you. Let me just go back here real quick. Okay. Is everybody still hearing me okay?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. I think I lost you on my Bluetooth, but as long as you're hearing me, that's fine. Okay. Let's see. Here we're just showing the difference in the our patented axial outboard V-slice design versus the old style, say, radial ring and cutter design, going back 30 years or more. And, you know, this is something we came up with this design probably 10 or 12 years ago, just because of all the testing that we did, and we were finding that the radial cutter, ring and cutter design would pull in a lot of material at one time, and then the floats would tell the pump to shut off, and it might have a huge wad of material, you know, lodged up under it, and it wouldn't be enough starting torque to really get that pump started again. So we've been very successful, obviously, with this V-slice cutter design, because there's just less surface area for any rags and wipes and material to really be lodged under between the cutter and the plate. Just smaller holes, smaller bites, plus it kicks the material away at the same time to try to keep it from overwhelming itself. Here's a design kind of showing how all the parts and pieces go together, but the very top is your impeller. These are shimmed cutter and pump design, so it is a shim design. The back side of this cutter, this first piece right up in here, is basically taking this cutter assembly, which rides upside down, facing the bottom, flip it over, and this is what that side looks like. So it's a stainless steel cutting plate, 440 hardened stainless steel to Rockwell C58, and it's a clearing grooves on the impeller side and also some clearing grooves on the cutter side as well, little notches there. Here we're showing from an engineering standpoint what that grinder design looks like, but basically pointing out here that every hole is at a different radius, which uses the entire length of the cutter. So you can see that cutter is at a different spot in each hole, but it's also using the entire length of the cutter, so it's at a different spot. So there's never, or our success has been that you're not getting too much material in one spot or one hole at one time that would reduce its ability or reduce it from jamming. As I mentioned earlier, there's some single seal pumps in here as well. So initially the project was about, okay, let's come up with some commercial style pumps. And at that point, they were not dual seal. They did not have seal leak detection, more of dewatering, storm water, maybe some light commercial applications for apartments or schools or things like applications that didn't require seal leak detection or explosion proof. So we actually kind of put these on the shelf for a while once we figured out we want to get more into municipal and hazardous location and seal leak detection style pumps. So that's when we got into all those dual seal pumps I just showed you. However, we put this in the offering as well. So these are kind of a lighter commercial duty style pumps. There's two versions of this. There's a 2-vane version, an open 2-vane. And again, these are 1.5 through 5 horsepower. They do not have seal leak detection and they're not available in explosion proof. They do come standard with the quick connect cord. So some nice flows and heads for, as I mentioned, stormwater or commercial applications. And then there's a Vortex version of those as well. So 1.5 through 5 horsepower, it's 3-inch solids handling, single seal design, Vortex impeller. So we have 2 or 4 basically different guide rail systems that go with these products. A 3-inch, a GR3, and a 4-inch, the GR4. So these are ANSI flange style guide rail bases basically, and then an NS or a non-sparking version, which means it comes with the bronze claw for the hazardous location or explosion proof version. So class 30 heavy cast iron, sized up for 2-inch rails, and durable nitrile sealing grommet, and powder coated for corrosion resistance. So these are guide rail systems that go with the different pumps based on their discharge sizes. We offer the control panel offering as well in fiberglass or stainless steel, simplex, duplex, also ordinary location and hazardous location. We are stocking the fiberglass ordinary location, both simplex and duplex, and the others, stainless steel or hazardous location, would be a ordered type item that may have a lead time of say 3 to 4 weeks. But standard features in the panels are trying to cover as much of the municipal applications as possible. So standard with HOA switches, inner panel door, elapsed time meters, auxiliary contacts, seal fail indicators, lockable door overload, adjustable overloads, thermal overloads, and alarm beacon. And these are in the NEMA 4X enclosures. We are offering these pumps in single phase up to 5 horsepower. Majority of these, specifically the dual seal pumps, are external capacitor driven. So you need to order an external starting kit, start capacitors, run capacitor components to go with that. There are a few of the single seal models that you can order with an internal capacitor setup. LEP Link, if you're familiar with SJ Rhombus, they have a panel system, a remote monitoring panel system. Nice thing about this is that this module here can be ordered as an RTU, we call it. It can be mounted into an existing panel, or if there's not room in the existing panel, you can buy it within an enclosure. But it's cellular driven. It's $360 a year monitoring cost annually, and it's set up to be able to monitor systems via the cloud or a website, but also receive text or email notifications based on parameters that you set. So high water levels. This 200 series version actually comes with the current sensor. So it's a little sensor that is wrapped around one of the leads, and it's measuring the current. So that's nice to be able to kind of get you can set high amp draws or low amp draws that would send you notifications and gives you some idea of what may be going on with the pump. And then also separately, you can purchase a transducer that can be wired into it. So with that transducer, you can put in parameters as far as diameter and depth of the wet well, and then it's able to measure incoming flow rates and also the flow rates that the pump is pumping. So you can get lots of trending type analysis and graphs of what that pump is doing. And here's a shot of the website, the web browser, and what it would look like. We could do a whole training session just on this. Single phase pre-assembled start kit. So as I mentioned, single phase external capacitor start kits. We offer them as just individual components. We did have some people call and ask questions about how to wire it all together. So we chose to try to make life easier and simple by mounting these to a plate that can be mounted inside an existing panel if you have room, and if not, then we offer it in an enclosure that can be mounted next to the control panel. Complete systems. So as I mentioned earlier, we've done a few of these already, and this has been a pretty good part of our business now, with putting together a pre-assembled system with grinder pumps or solids handling pumps and different basins, guide rail kits and control panels and different types of piping. We've done some that were flanged ductile iron piping. We've done some plastic and 3-inch PVC, depending on the size or what the requirements are for the job. But this one here was one that's 48 by 216 grinder system using a couple of LGH03s. So we have the ability to do the drawings and all the technical details behind it for a complete system. This is just a little CAD software program that we threw together for a neat little picture of how these look. If you're not familiar with Peter Poulton, he's our inside technical sales person or technical customer service individual that does the sizing, selection, technical assistance, and does quotes, obviously, and enters the orders for LEP at least. So I will jump to the website here and show you where a lot of this information is. So again, the website address, we've had a few people call or ask questions because they seem to get to the libertypumps.com website but don't see all of the LEP stuff. So the way you differentiate that is this /LEP, and then you'll have this icon at the logo at the top with Liberty Engineered Products. But these 5 categories here are the main criteria of finding information, but I want to show you real quick where you can find this brochure that you can either, we have the printed version of this brochure or a PDF of it. And here's the summary brochure in English. So that's where you find that under About Us. And this is a PDF, 12 pages. We also offer it in a printed version. So it's a lot of the similar images that you saw earlier. Let me go to pump flow first, and I'll show you the sizing program that's offered through engineered software. As I mentioned, if you already have a username and password, you can just log in that way and save it, and then it takes you there automatically. But once you hit begin selection, we can start to size a pump up. I'll just go through a quick scenario here. We use 200 gallons a minute at 30 feet ahead. Static head can be whatever you want, 10. And we'll do a quick search. Over to the right, you can narrow it down the number of different selections it'll give you if you want to pick a specific pump, or if you just leave it blank, it'll give you all the options. So I'll just leave that blank. And so here's a half a dozen different selections. And you see the right angle, and if you're familiar with this program, it kind of looks the same from many different manufacturers. This is just our curve. So I'll just take a look at, so you can see here type, there's 3-inch solids handling in this category that fit. There's a grinder pump that's kind of way right on the curve, but not too bad. Then there's these, once you get familiar with the numbering system, this is V is a vortex, this is the E for enclosed 2-vein, and this is the mono vein here. So I'm gonna pick this one. And this will now give you a little bit closer view of what this is and what it looks like on the curve. So what you're going to want to do in this software program is record a couple things. You're going to want to record the impeller diameter. You're going to want to take note of the series. So this is the LM series, or the 3LM, which is the mono vein. You're also going to want to look at power. So down here, you're going to have horsepower. So that's going to tell you to look for the 5 horsepower version of this. When we now go in to build a pump, you can go to that point. So we're in between here. So this looks like it could be a custom trim, because we do have standard trims in 1/4-inch increments here. So if they have to have something exact, we could potentially trim that. But if they're not that dead set on it, we could actually just jump to that 6.75 diameter impeller. So we will go here to back to our website, and we will go to build a pump. Again, this program is designed to kind of get you to the part number, to the accessories, and also spit out some pricing. So I'm logged in here under build a pump. If you have not registered yet, what you would do is there would be a login up here and not my name. And then down below where the username and password is, it would say register. And you click register, fill out a few of the different information, and then we would get you approved, and then that gets you the login to be able to see the pricing. So let's come back here a second, and we'll go to solids handling, because that's what we were looking at, the mono vein. That is a dual seal pump. We're going to come here to mono vein. And at that point, you're going to probably somewhere in the spec or know whether you want ordinary location or hazardous location. I'm just going to pick ordinary. We recorded through the pump flow that it was a 5 horsepower. So now we've got here under model, we've got 95% of your part number, with the exception of the phase and voltage. So whatever you pick here, adds this digit 4 for 460 volt. And then you can change now down to that 6.75 diameter impeller. These are the 3 impeller diameter standard options. And you have a few other options over here to the right. You could pick a different seal if you'd like, permanent cord versus quick connect cord. So every time you change that, it changes the list pricing as well to coincide with that. And those pumps, as I mentioned, the dual seal pumps are standard with the 35-foot cord, but we also offer a 50 and 100-foot cord option. So you got that. So here's your list price. So that's all set. Now you can go into this matching accessories area over here. and it's going to ask you about other items that might want to go with that pump. So if you're looking for the control panel, you can pick one here. So there's 4 options. There's a simplex, a duplex, and then there's a fiberglass and a stainless steel version. So I'm just going to pick the duplex fiberglass version. So I'll do that. It's a 3-phase pump, so no start capacitor required on this, but if you pick single phase, it would pick and price the part number for the start kit. 3 floats or 4 floats, and then the dash 50 is for 50 feet, and the dash 100 is for 100-foot cord. So I'm going to pick 4 50-foot floats. And then one of the better things I like about this whole program is that some pumps are 3-inch, some are 4. So until you get familiar with it and trying to memorize which are which, this only gives you the only option that would go with that pump. So it takes a lot of the mystery away. Basically, this is it. You got to pick the VR4 guide rail base to go with that. The other nice thing about this program is we're not done yet. We can hit print packet. And what this is going to do is produce anywhere from a 10 to 15 page document, PDF, that gives you lots of information that can be sent to a customer engineer for submittal documentation. So the first page is a summary of the pump and what its horsepower, phase, voltage, type of impeller, that kind of stuff. The other thing here, and you can either log in and get it priced up or leave pricing off by not logging in. And you get the list price each for the panel. You got the list price up here for the pump. You got each for the floats and the guide rail base. Now this total list price, though, what it does is because we picked a duplex panel, it's doubling the pump for 2 pumps and it's doubling the guide rail for 2 guide rails. So that's what this is saying here. You've selected a duplex panel. Total list price will reflect 2 pumps and 2 guide rails. So this is a list price now for a duplex system, we'll call it. Obviously less basin and that. So the PDF material is all here, all the technical data, all the different classes and features of the particular pump, all the technical data and material construction based on phase and voltage. So your locked rotor amps, your full load amps, RPMs. Here's your temperature ratings and type of oil and discharge configuration and materials and thermal protection. So lots of information. This is your performance curve with efficiencies and horsepower lines. So a nice detailed curve. These efficiencies are written currently in wire to water efficiencies, and we do have hydraulic efficiencies available. One thing we did is we tried to go with what the industry future was looking like, and the industry is trying to go to wire to water efficiencies. However, many manufacturers are still using hydraulic efficiencies, which sometimes can be 10 to 15% more efficient. So if there's ever an issue of not meeting a specific efficiency, we just want to double check that, and we can offer hydraulic efficiencies as well. Here's your dimensional data for those pumps, and then a 3-page pre-written specification. So these are available in Word as well, that they can cut and paste into their specification software program that they might be using from an engineer standpoint. So we call out some specific things here from a spec, that mid-therm cooling, the clear notch, 100,000 hour rated bearings. You can do the quick connect cord as an option, and all that detail. Then your panel, if we pick the panel, so all the panel info is in here, and as well as the guide rail system. So all the guide rail dimensional info is in here as well. So let me go back here. So that was pump flow and build a pump. And then another way to get to that same kind of information is if you know what you're looking for, you just want to get some information on the 5 horsepower grinder, you'd come here to pumps, come over here to grinder pumps, look your 5 horsepower, and then you'd pick either hazardous location or ordinary. And then you can go down. And so Each document is individual as a PDF, what we showed earlier, or if you hit full literature sheet, you basically get that whole packet of everything in one. So you get the dimensional data and the spec and the technical data and all that in one, curves. So that's usually what I use to send to customers and engineers, is give them more information than having them come back and ask for other things. Under services is where we find our warranty registration startup form here. We do have that two ways. We have an electronic form that's able to be filled out using a tablet or iPad or whatever. Or if they don't have a tablet or an iPad, they can fill it out using the PDF form. So it's a fill-in type form. It's a couple pages of asking for standard kind of startup information, you know, amp draw and voltage and things like that, customer name, obviously, job name, that kind of stuff. And then for replacement parts, if there was a repair in the field, this is a program called Easy Parts that we use. That is a nice little exploded view of that particular pump, and it will give you a list of parts. And if you're logged in, you do have the login, it'll spit out net prices. So say, for example, 10 years down the road, we get somebody that we sold a monovane pump to, and we can pick by part number here, or if they came to you with a serial number from 10 years ago, you can plug the serial number in here, and it will actually pull up the bill of materials of that specific pump that was built. I don't have a serial number off the top of my head, so I'm just going to pick one of these. And this will give me the exploded parts view with a list of parts down below and the net prices. The other nice thing about this program is that you can hit print here and download, and what it'll do is give us a PDF of that parts breakdown. No prices, just parts and numbers. So then you can send this to a customer if they called you and said, hey, I just need the cutter assembly, or I need an impeller, I just need a seal. They can come down here and pick out which particular part they're looking for. Let's see here under replacement parts. Engineering specs are here, so that's based on model. So if somebody's just looking for a spec on a specific model, they're found under this. And BIM models are Autodesk Revit. It's kind of a more current version of engineering software drawing type models versus, say, CAD. We can offer CAD as well, but many engineering firms are moving towards these BIM models, so that's available. And then all the install manuals are there as well, so for all the different pumps and products out there. Let me show you the video for the grinder pump real quick. You've probably seen the 2 horsepower grinder demo live and in person at some point, but we created a 7.5 horsepower grinder video. Nice thing I like about this is we get a side view and an underneath view of the grinder. So take everything from a small red shop rag all the way up to the Denim beam. We also do a start-stop display showing that this pump has enough starting point to restart. Maybe it's got some material work. We use this video questions about how big grinder was, does it grind up wipes or denim jeans or whatever. think that's about all I have. Is there any questions or anything I can try to show you guys? It's kind of hard to cover everything in 1 hour, but.
So Paul, is any of them motors, any of the pumps rated for continuous duty run, or are they all intermittent?
Yeah, we have that written into the specification. We obviously have minimum submergence for those as well. You know, that's just the top of the cover. So yeah, they're rated for continuous duty. Yeah, there's that. So they are oil-filled motors. I think I mentioned that, and they're Baldor. So a couple other things that's come up recently is, you know, do our pumps, the LEP pumps at least, do they meet the Buy America, Buy American? There's, you know, there's two different versions there. One's Buy America is more Department of Transportation driven, and has to do with the amount of content that's mined in the U.S. as well as you know, poured at a foundry in the United States. So we meet both Buy America, Buy American, and the ARRA certification. So I think we can envision this the Buy America stuff becoming more popular here in the future. So the castings are poured at a foundry in Pennsylvania. We machine them at our facility in outside of Rochester, New York, Virgin, small town, and then we the motors or the stator and the rotor assembly come from Baldor, which is in Arkansas. And then there's a few components that are, but a small amount of content that's, for example, the seals are from a company called Bergman, Eagle Bergman in Italy, but other than that, the amount of the content does meet the Buy America stuff, the certification. There's lots of information there. Obviously, time to digest it, and you know, we're available, myself and Peter Polton. We do have a separate website as well that, I'm sorry, not a separate website, but a separate email address. And that we take the quotes and questions and technical support. Did have a couple more slides here. High potential testing we're doing, as well as we're testing every pump before it goes out the doors, wet testing these. And this is the technical questions. Peter.Polton, his name's spelled P-E-I-T-E-R @libertypumps.com. And the email address is lep@libertypumps.com. Got a few adapters. These aren't final, but we have a few adapters we can use to adapt to other people's pumps if there is a replacement opportunity or opportunity to get something quick. Our lead time is 5 to 7 days from the receipt of order. So we will ship pumps in 5 to 7 days and standard style panels, but obviously the other panels and custom panels could have a little bit more of a lead time. So a couple of adapters here for flight that we're trying. We do have the standard, this blue one. These are kind of an idea and models that we're looking at to maybe come up with for that 3/4 inch rail type flight that they have. And seal fail relay, there is the seal fails are a resistance style 2-probe version, so there is a relay involved in that. Now there is a chance that an existing application maybe has a similar type setup, so maybe they have a relay that has a sensitivity range from 1 to 250,000 ohms, and it would be compatible. My personal opinion is if that's a panel that's been out there for a few years, the price of the relay is pretty inexpensive, so I would just replace the relay with a new relay. And we offer the relay, but also in the installation manual, we offer both our part number and the manufacturer's part number, so if you needed to want to source it locally, it's the Macromatic branded relay that we go with that. The wholesale difference from wholesale products on the LEP side is the warranty is 18 months from the date of installation, or when we received the warranty registration startup form, which we asked for within 30 days of the actual installation. And then we do offer a 5-year prorated warranty for those type of applications out there or requirements as a 10% list price adder with a 5-year prorated warranty. And as I mentioned, the 5 to 7 day lead time. So
an engineer told me the other day that Gorman Rupp's offering a 5-year warranty, full 5-year warranty. With no extra.
full 5 years?
No, that's what he was telling me. I don't believe it, but.
Yeah, I've seen, I'll give you a good one. Here's a good one. Flight warranties their motor for 20 years. But obviously there's lots of caveats to go with that, because when you read the fine print, you have to use their control panel that measures thermal temperatures and vibration and all kinds of other stuff that, 10 or 15 years from now, who knows who would remember they even had a warranty. And beyond that, I guess, beyond that, I kind of wonder, I guess, how many people are meeting all the different, I don't know, it's like a page of criteria you had to meet to qualify for the warranty. So it's, anyway, we try to make our 5-year prorated warranty fairly simple. We looked at a lot of different manufacturers, and some of them had both hour schedules, meaning that the number of hours the pump ran, that they would offer, X% back, as a repair cost. We tried to make it simple. So we're basically saying we'll repair the pump for parts and labor to repair it, not transportation and all that. From 0 to 31 months, we'll pay 100% of the repair cost. And from 32 to 60 months, we'll pay 50% of the repair costs. We tried to simplify it without having, 5 or 6 tiers of percentages that we would pay back. So that is about all I can think of to not take up too much more of your time. So I'm available for questions anytime, cell phone, email. And, Peter's doing quite a bit of job right now of cross-referencing over other products. We've had people come to us with, Hydromatic, Myers, Flight, ABS, all of them. We're knocking them off kind of one at a time, converting them over to what our pump would be. Sometimes it's a lead time issue that they can't wait for a brand X. Sometimes it's just, hey, they've got a solids handling pump that they've had in there for 10 years and it's clogging up, or, it's clogging up all the time. And we want to try one of the grinder pumps to put in there to solve the problem, which we've done a few of those that have been very successful and turned into many more orders within a certain municipality that might have, 10 or 15 lift stations. So. Any questions?
I don't think so.
Okay. Are you guys looking to, I can't remember now, I know 1 or 2 of you have signed up to get the login with pricing. Is that, and I also can't remember, did I send you the pricing? Were you going to try to maybe load that into your business system?
Well, if we had pricing, we wouldn't be entering it into our system unless it was the stock items.
Okay.
So we'd just be running off of a spreadsheet or a net sheet or a website or whatever.
Yeah, okay. That's fine. Again, we have the login that gets you list prices. I mean, we're obviously doing lots of quotes. So if you have a request, we just go ahead and quote it. And
what's our
multiple?
Yeah, I was going to ask what our multiplier was.
Yeah, it's a 5.0. It just makes it easy for everybody from a math standpoint. So
sure.
It's list times a 5.0.
Okay. Awesome.
Okay. Well, I appreciate your time today, and don't hesitate to give us a call or email us if you have anything we can help you out with.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
All right. Thank you.
Wow. 4 to 7 days. That's pretty fucking